This video is sponsored by Polar Pro because today we'll be taking a look at their shutter collection and ND filters for the GoPro Hero 9. Let's go. And if you are going to get an ND filter for your GoPro, the Polar Pro Shutter Collection is by far the best to control exposure and create motion blur. All right, let's talk about these filters. These filters come in a hard protective case, and it's also pretty slim so that you can easily slip it into your camera bag. In the Shutter Collection, you get 3 levels of ND filters. You have an ND8, ND16, and ND32. The higher the number, then the more you bring down the exposure. You want to be careful, however, with GoPros because if you try to use an ND filter like ND32, then the GoPro might be forced to use a high ISO and you might end up with grainy footage. But depending on what you film and how bright the environment is, you may end up using an ND16 or ND32.
Now, usually I use ND8 for most of the stuff that I film because I usually film in the mornings or in golden hour. But because it's like noon right now, I'm using the ND32 filter because it's a little bit stronger. And that's the cool thing about these filters. There's like multiple versions, so you can use ND8s if it's soft lighting, ND16 for like medium lighting, and then ND32 if it's like really harsh lighting. And at that strength, I'm able to control the exposure where I could still film with a shutter speed of 1/48th of a second.
Now, as far as color casting goes, there is going to be a slight golden color cast with the Polar Pro ND filters. Color casting is pretty much evident in every ND filter out there. These filters are not the exception. However, I didn't really see too much of a difference when I compared it to the original GoPro footage without any ND filters on. There were some shots where I noticed a color cast and there were some shots where I didn't. I really don't think it's that big of a deal, and if you want, you can always color correct in post. All right, let's talk about the physical attributes of these filters. The glass on these filters have 16 coats of layers to reduce flaring and help protect against fingerprints, oils, and even scratches. And on the edges of the filters, you have this nice little grip so that you can easily attach it onto your GoPro and detach it. All right, so this is the GoPro Hero 9, and so I'm going to take out the UV filter that comes with the camera. Just twist, hold on, just twist counterclockwise. Come on, I just put lotion on and it's kind of slippery. This is so embarrassing. I actually had the ND8 on the GoPro for like weeks, but I took it off to put the UV filter on just so I can make this video. So I'll probably just leave the ND8 on the GoPro at all times, just so I don't have to do this. Oh my gosh, man. There we go, all right. That was embarrassing. All right, so now I'm gonna put the ND8 filter on. Just attach it onto the lens, push, and turn it clockwise. Boom, very nice. And then to detach it, just use the grips on the edges of the filter, slightly pull, and turn counterclockwise. There you go, just like so. And then with the GoPro filter, you just put it into the empty slot of the case, and then pack it away. One thing that I do with the filters is that I make sure to attach the filter so that I can see the ND number on the top of the filter. It just helps remind me which ND filter that I'm using. Now, to create motion blur with a GoPro, whatever your frame rate is, whether it's 24 frames per second or 60 frames per second, double that number in your shutter speed. Since I shot these clips at 24 frames per second, my shutter speed should be 1/48th of a second. So, little tidbit for you, just in case you didn't know. You can get the Polar Pro Shutter Collection ND filters for $79, which I think is a fair price for the quality of filters that you get. And when you can control the exposure to create that motion blur, you're gonna film some pretty awesome stuff with your GoPro thanks to these filters. And if you wanna get the Polar Pro Shutter Collection ND filters, check out the link down below. Huge thanks to Polar Pro for sponsoring this video and for sending these amazing filters for me to play with. Again, if you wanna get one for yourself, links will be down below, but huge thanks to you for watching and hanging out. Always appreciate your presence. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit the bell so that you get notified for upcoming videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.